Alright, welcome guys, it is your boy Jack here, back with another random and yet rather unorthodox video, if I'm being completely honest. We don't do a lot of regular uploads anymore, because of all the live streaming we've been doing over the past few months, and funnily enough that is exactly what this video is all about. So that's going to be the core focus, because live streaming is a big part of what this channel does these days, and yeah, there's a lot that I have to talk about. I'm going to try and keep it as short and compact as possible as always, so let's just get right into the meat and potatoes, okay? As you guys might have noticed, over the past 48 hours I've been absent from both Twitch and YouTube from live streaming. I haven't been in the Discord much, I haven't been doing a lot of talking and updating on you guys on what's been going on, but basically our live streaming capabilities on YouTube for the past 48 hours were down, and that is what I'm going to talk about today. What is this video? In a nutshell, this is not a flame video, this is not a video that I have made to rant and rave. That's not really what I'm about as a person. Sometimes I do like to go on a bit of a rant, but in this particular scenario, this is a video that I want to make because I want something productive to come out of the end of it. Now, whether that's going to happen or not, I am not sure. I'll remain optimistic, but at the same time, I'm going to make this video anyway, and we'll just see what happens. Over the last 48 hours, I lost my ability to stream on YouTube, and I just want to talk about my experience with the YouTube support team and how I felt over the 48 hours, tell you guys what happened, and basically just explain what's going on. So here we go. Very quickly, my background on streaming as a whole. I think we started last year, very late in 2018. Now, when I moved out of my flat in the start of 2019, around about February, March, that's when we actually started streaming full time. I have loved streaming. I've been doing it almost every day, anywhere between 6 to 10 hours a day, sometimes longer, and yeah, it's been an absolute blast. My community has been fantastic, super supportive. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm just so happy right now doing this, okay? I'm going to preface this video with a disclaimer that I don't make that much money on YouTube or on Twitch, okay? So all of the things that I'm going to discuss and talk about is with that in mind, okay? Hopefully that doesn't take away from the fact that my discussions and what we're going to talk about is actually quite important anyway. Over the last few days, if anybody is a big gaming nut, you guys will know all about the E3 conferences that have been happening. So from, I think it was Friday last week through to about Tuesday, Wednesday this week, there was conventions, conferences, press conferences, presentations, whatever you guys want to call them on. As a gaming channel, we had been watching a lot of these live. Now at the time, I never expected to run into any problems as a result of streaming the E3 broadcast. Now, some of you guys might think that is particularly naive. However, I assumed that the problems that I thought I would encounter when streaming E3 as a YouTuber would be things like, you know, copyright claims, demonetization of my VODs, and things like that. That was all expected. I wasn't trying to combat that or anything of that kind. Basically, we were watching the Square Enix conference just as we had been. Luckily enough, it was just after the Final Fantasy VII stuff had finished and they were starting to move on to the other games. What actually happened is my chat stopped moving, and I thought, you know, at the time I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, oh well, it was pretty early in the morning, you know, it was like 2 AM for some of these guys, 3 AM. 5 minutes go by and I realized my chat hasn't moved at all, and I realized that all of the people watching on YouTube had migrated across to Twitch, and they were actually talking to me in the Twitch chat. So I was like, oh, that's a bit strange. And they were all telling me, you know, that YouTube was having issues where it crashed and they weren't able to communicate anymore. And yeah, I never really thought anything of it at the time. Now, when I was actually wrapping up the stream, I actually had a closer inspection of what was going on, and I realized that the whole stream itself was actually taken down. It wasn't just a problem with the chat. And I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. I've never really encountered that problem before, but okay. So I told my stream good night and told them, you know, the usual thanks for being here, etc., and I closed it down. And when I actually went into my YouTube settings, I realized that my YouTube capabilities, my privilege to live stream on YouTube had actually been taken away. I was suddenly uneligible to be able to live stream. So when I saw that, you know, obviously the alarm bells started popping, and in my mind I was starting to think, well, what could have caused this? It obviously must be to do with, you know, rebroadcasting the E3 presentations. Why would that be the case? So I started basically leafing around the YouTube FAQs to try and suss out what the hell was going on. Firstly, I should point out that at this point in time, I had, you know, 0 copyright strikes and also 0 community guideline strikes on the channel. Everything was looking clean, everything was looking good. It was just the core ability to live stream that was suddenly gone from me. So that was a bit bizarre. But I had a quick look around the YouTube FAQ, and there was a couple of decent reasons that popped up. There's a lot of information in the FAQ. You know, if you are live streaming another person's broadcast, most importantly, because I think, even till this moment, I think that was the main problem. There was things that suggested, you know, if you obviously cause some massive breaches of the community guidelines, so if you were streaming profanity or nudity or any of that good stuff, you know, like, obviously you're going to get your live stream taken down. If you have too many copyright claims claims or too many content ID claims. I saw that might also cause for your live streaming capabilities to be disabled. So there was a whole number of things that I was technically in breach of. But given the fact that I was just restreaming the gaming conferences, I didn't think I was actually going to be encountering any of these difficulties, and I certainly didn't expect to be punished in terms of having my live streaming privileges revoked. So where did this get me? When I'm sitting here in my underwear at like 3 in the morning trying to figure out what's going on, I started to realize that the FAQs that I was reading was actually sending me like in loops on itself. It would tell me to, if you would like to find out why your live stream is down, click here. You go to that page and it's like, if you would like to see if your YouTube currently has live streaming capabilities, click this link, and it would take me back round and round. So I contacted YouTube partner support. These people are here to help specifically channels like myself, okay? So I reached out. You had 1,000 characters in the support ticket. You were able to attach attachments, i.e. files, to the support ticket, and I basically maxed out. I said, here's the situation, here's what I think I've done wrong. Please can you tell me specifically what's going on with my channel? I have no information, I have no email correspondence, there's no emails telling me that I've did this wrong or that my YouTube restrictions are being suspended for this amount of time. I'm completely in the dark. Please can you shed any light whatsoever? There was even a bit once you submit the ticket where you can also reply to the initial support email and just add your channel and things like that to help speed your problem along. So I did all that stuff. It might be optimistic to think that would do anything, but I thought I just want to show that I'm here. I am trying to get this fixed as quickly as possible and that I'm going about it with a polite attitude, okay? So basically, YouTube tell you that they have about 24 hours before they get back to you. There's a 24-hour window. In this particular instance, I basically just had to wait. I didn't know what was going on. But that's fine, that's to be expected. YouTube is a big platform. They obviously have thousands, maybe even millions of YouTube partners, most likely millions of YouTube partners, and yeah, I expected that it was going to be a while before I got a reply. So in this meantime, I was still raking around the FAQs or the facts, just trying to figure out if I could find any more information as to what was going on. There was a lot of talk in the forums about 90-day restrictions on live streaming. Even if you don't have a strike or whatever, there was a line I read somewhere that said something along the lines of, if you violate your live streaming guidelines or you do something that YouTube deems like inappropriate, you can actually have your live streaming capabilities revoked for 90 days. Which is 3 months, obviously. Now, when I read that, I was really starting to panic, and I was really starting to get a bit, flustered, and I was like, is this really actually happening right now? I had to wait on the email coming back, but I had high hopes. I thought my position was particularly strong, even though we had obviously been restreaming E3. I didn't think that if any unbiased human being who had enough time to read my ticket carefully and look at the situation with fair eyes, see that we had caused no problems before, we've never ever tried to steal anybody else's content or anything like that in the past, that hopefully they would get back to me and have some sort of explanation, maybe even some fixes going on in there as well. So that was what I was hoping for. So 23 hours later, almost right on the 1 day deadline that YouTube gives you, I actually received a reply from a gentleman named Eric. Now I'm going to read you guys what it was that Eric wrote to me in his reply. Hi Jack, thanks for reaching out. I understand that your live stream, having your live stream enabled means a lot to you, and I'm happy to help out. Now, when I read this, I was actually fairly pleased. I was like, okay, cool. So it means that they actually know what's going on. They've understood the fact that live streaming is quite important to me. Again, we have a small channel, but it is part of my core ability to earn a living at this point, regardless of how ridiculous people think that is. That is the true nature of what's going on. So unfortunately, after Eric said this to me, the rest of his email was a lot less exciting and a lot less helpful, a lot more disappointing, shall we say. So I looked at the next part. Eric said this: I've reviewed my resources and confirmed that your channel's live streaming ability will automatically disabled for any of the following reasons. And then Eric proceeded to link me 4 bullet points, copy and pasted directly from the FAQ, which I came from in order to submit my support ticket. He then rounded it off with another paragraph copy and pasted directly from the same FAQ that I was reading before I messaged YouTube, and that was it. He said, should you have further concerns, feel free to contact us and I'll be waiting to assist. So basically what Eric wrote back to me was 4 bullet points directly from the FAQ, and he completely ignored all of my questions, all of my specific requests about my channel specifically. He failed to tell me exactly what it was that my channel had done. Again, we've got no strikes, we've got no errors, I received no emails, I didn't know what was going on. He didn't address any of the specific points I mentioned, other than saying that he was aware that live streaming was important to me, he never addressed the fact that I said it was part of my, my daily earnings and my ability to pay my bills and things like that. He just completely flat out ignored all that stuff. So again, when I saw this, I was pretty stressed out. I was pretty upset. I was, starting to, let the hate flow through me to a certain degree. I was pretty pissed off. I waited the full 23 hours to get this back. It's not like they replied to me within 6 hours and this is what they wrote. I waited a full day to find out what was going on. Now, at this point, this is a day where I could have been live streaming, I could have been explaining to my community what was going on, etc, etc. But anyways, so when Eric wrote this back to me, I thought about, hard flaming his ass, but it wasn't going to get me anywhere, obviously. So again, I took the very, very, as polite an approach as I could. Sometimes I feel like being angry with these sort of moments can sometimes give you an advantage, but for the most part, I didn't think it was going to benefit me in the slightest if I started raging at the guy. It was very clear from his first message that he didn't really give a shit whether he was even a person or not. I'm starting to question myself. It was a very standard response. So I wrote back to Eric and I said, "Hi Eric," and this time I wrote "and the partner support team," in the hopes that I wouldn't get Eric again and that I would actually, receive a human being with a little bit more time on their hands. I said, "Thank you for your reply. However, I have already accessed all of the above information. These were available on the FAQs, blah, blah, blah. Everything you have sent me was available in the FAQs, which I mentioned in my original ticket." I then went on to say, I thought, if they get a lot of these messages all the time and they don't have a lot of time to address each individual ticket, maybe if I ask specific questions, I will make a bit more headway in trying to solve the problem. So I said, "I'm writing to specifically find out why my channel," so specifically why my channel has had live streaming restricted, and to also understand if I have been the collateral in the battle against typical copyright. Now that seems like a weird way to address that, but basically the point I was trying to make was, I understand that there's copyright systems in place. I understand that because YouTube is so big, it has automated systems that are important to catching copyright problems and people trying to steal other people's content. And I was just basically asking, is this a punishment that was actually intended for people like me? I was just live streaming the conference. I didn't think it was going to be a problem. There are other platforms like Twitch who are actually actively embracing their partners and their live streamers to be able to watch and share the E3 conferences. So I really didn't think that YouTube was going to have any issue with it. So that's where that sentence comes from, if that makes any sense. I said that, I reiterated the fact that I have no copyright strikes or any community guideline strikes as of right now on my channel, and I uploaded a picture of my channel with my name and icon and all that stuff to the email so that it was very easy for Eric to just open it and see that I was telling the truth. I guess if he wanted to check, he could also do so. And I also said to him, I don't actually have any ID claims, or I have very few ID claims across a bunch of my last uploads, as shown in another attachment, which I also added to the email. So again, I'm basically pointing out, here's a picture of my last 8 uploads, which pretty much reflect all of the channel as a whole. We have very, very little copyright ID claims. So if this is not what's caused the problem, can you tell me what has? Basically was my point that I was making there. Again, I reiterated that what I was doing at the time when my live streaming ability was taken away, I said we were watching E3. I didn't think this was going to be a problem. I feel like I was expecting to have my videos demonetized, etc, etc. And I also pointed out the fact that, I'm assuming there was a lot of people streaming E3. Anyways, I made that point and just said, there must be other people that are in the same boat as me right now. Surely you guys are aware of what's going on. And then lastly, in my little paragraph at the bottom of this email, I said, again, my community is very small, but they're very dedicated to me and my channel. They're very dedicated to each other and everything, everything that we kind of do when we hang out in live streams. Over the last few months, my income has increased again. I kind of reiterated it to the team here that this is quite important. Every day that goes by when you're not live streaming, when you're barely making enough money as it is to pay your bills, pay your rent, pay your electricity, etc, etc, it's quite important to have this in place. So I was just letting them know and kind of laying down, all my cards and saying, listen, I really, really need this to come back. And if it's not going to come back, I need to know for how long it's going to be down for so that I can start to plan what I'm going to do because I have bills to pay. So yeah, and I basically said, please help, and just laid it all out there. Now, at this moment in time, again, based on the first reply, I kind of suspected that I was not going to get... I wasn't expecting Eric to suddenly grow a brain and reply to me with a fully fledged, "Hey Jack, I understand what's going on. Just so you know, this is what I think's happening, blah, 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 blah. Your channel has been, has had live streaming taken away for this exact reason. So specifically, this is what you've done wrong. This is the problem. Your live streaming capabilities are going to be taken away as a result from this amount of time. I'm really sorry, but this is why you need to be aware of blah, 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 right? That's what I was hoping, but I didn't expect Eric to be that forthcoming and also, you know, that helpful. So at this point in time, I'm really starting to get a bit nervous because I'm thinking, well, if I don't have this ability to live stream with the guys, obviously the channel gets halted in terms of its growth. My income from the super chats, which again has been pretty substantial over the last few months, is not going to be there anymore. So what am I going to do? As I mentioned earlier, we have been live streaming on Twitch. So I basically immediately started to plan. I went into like survival mode and I started basically preparing for the worst case scenario, which was, you know, for Eric to either not help me out by giving me any more help, or for him to get back and say, you know, you're not going to be able to live stream for the next 90 days. So yeah, I went into survival mode. I went over to Twitch and I did a lot of things. I basically signed up and completed my partnership with the affiliate program on Twitch. So now I have a sub button over on Twitch. I have signed the affiliate contract electronically, which basically means that now I can no longer live stream on Twitch and another platform simultaneously. So that means that if YouTube does eventually come back, which we'll get to in a little minute, then I wouldn't be able to actually live stream on Twitch and YouTube at the same time. So YouTube live streaming would be donezo if things were to continue as is. Or if they were to come back, rather. So I also then went across and did a bunch of admin for Twitch because we had signed up for the affiliate scheme. So I uploaded a bunch of emotes, I uploaded subscriber alerts and things like that. I did a bunch of work to make sure that basically if Twitch was going to be the next way that we immediately start streaming on, that it was going to go out properly, or it was going to get kickstarted properly. I actually went online and I bought an entire streaming package, which sounds a bit extravagant, but realistically it was like $30 on sale. I bought a package to basically enhance the stream. I bought a banner, I bought animated things for the stream, just everything to make Twitch and streaming as a whole better. I did a bunch of stuff. In panic mode to try and prepare for the worst. Because again, YouTube was giving me zero communication. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was going on. And realistically, based on the contact I'd had so far with the support team who were there to help me in moments like this, I had no idea what was going on. So that's what happened with Twitch. Basically, that's pretty much that. I came back to my computer this morning to check if Eric had replied to me, which he had. So let me just get that to you real quick. We're almost wrapping up, guys. So let me just let you know what happened next. Bearing in mind everything that I spoke about in the last email in terms of asking specifically why my channel was having its live streaming restricted, everything that I mentioned about E3 and all my reasons why I suspected it. I asked him about obviously the automated process. I never actually asked him how long my live streaming was going to be revoked for, because I didn't really want to broach that subject yet. I was still in the mindset where, because I was getting very little back from my questions, I was trying to keep them focused on preventing it from actually getting to that stage. So I didn't actually want to ask him how long I was going to be out of the game for. So all of these things I mentioned to Eric. Eric writes back to me and he says, "Hi Jack, thanks for writing back. Have you tried to see if you have any content ID claims on your videos? We may also email you when you get a content claim or if any video is affected. Please let me know if you have further questions." Now at this point, you know, it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous how bad and how completely woeful this help and support is that you can't even be angry anymore. It's just so silly that it's laughable. You kind of reach that delirious stage, you know, that nirvana where you're just like, Jesus Christ, like, this is terrible. This is so silly. So at this point, this was my last hope for Eric to get back to me. What he did is he completely ignored everything I wrote to him in my fairly polite, in fact, completely polite email. Very, very structured. I made my points clear by underlining the questions that I wanted answered. And again, my attachments I added. Now, Eric replies to me and asks me something that I've already acknowledged in the previous email. And again, of the two attachments that I sent to him, one was actually the point highlighting what he suggested to me. So at this point, you know, I'm completely just assuming that it is worst case scenario with YouTube. I'm completely assuming that, you know, it's not going to get any better. So I started replying to Eric, actually started writing a reply to him. And it was, again, I was starting to get less and less polite. But anyways, I put the brakes on. I thought, you know what, I'll actually just check to see if, you know, my live streaming capabilities are still down, because they might have miraculously been brought back. I was skeptical, but you never know. So I actually paused the email midway through to Eric, and I actually I checked my YouTube page where all of my settings are, you know, shown to me, and ridiculously enough, my live streaming had been re-enabled. Now, I don't think that this was anything to do with Eric. What I think was I had been timed out for 48 hours. I think that's what happened with my live stream. No explanation. I never got any emails, no correspondence whatsoever. And even when I messaged Eric to ask him at the YouTube support team what was going on, he didn't tell me there was a 48-hour like window. If it was someone on the YouTube support team that actually did go back into my settings and put live streaming back on, I would like to thank you. However, I'm confused as to why you didn't tell me that you were going to do that. So again, I have no idea what's going on. Eric's last message was completely and utterly useless to me. So God bless Eric for that one. But I am just in this zone now where I'm just completely baffled. Obviously, I'm very, very pleased to have my live streaming capabilities back to me. But this whole ordeal has been such a roller coaster that it's like, I'm past the point where, you know, I'm relieved, I'm just exhausted, and none of this had to be the case. Even if YouTube had replied to me immediately and just said, you know, Jack, these are the problems that you've crossed, or these are the problems that you've encountered, this is why your live streaming is gone, this is how long it's going to be gone for, there's things that we can try and do, but for the most part, this is your bed. At least that in that particular scenario, if I had been banned from live streaming on YouTube for 90 days, I would have been aware of what was going on, but there was none of that. I was just left completely in limbo. And when I reached out to ask the only people that have the answers to help me solve my problem, they were just, I mean, this guy wasn't even reading what I was writing. And to have that feeling when you have a lot on the line it makes you feel really powerless, and it's not very pleasant. Now, the reason I've made this video, guys, and the reason I've went on this big tirade and rant, if anybody's still watching at this point, then thank you for still being here. But obviously, the reason I'm making this video is because I'm in a lucky position, guys, where I live with my other half. She has a good job. She's doing really well for herself. I have enough savings where I can afford to, you know, pay my rent, pay for the food bills, pay for all these other bills, you know what I mean? And for this not to impact me in any colossal way. I have no doubt in my mind that there are people with full-time YouTube careers that have been doing this for a long time that encounter these kind of problems on a day-to-day basis. If I was a father of 2 kids and I had a mortgage to pay, and I had dependencies to pay for, or for whatever reason I was a single man living in an apartment that I was paying for regularly and I didn't have savings or something like that, this particular scenario could be really, really, really worrying. My point is that I'm lucky because I don't have a lot of dependencies, but some people do. And if they encounter this kind of attitude and problems from the YouTube end when they're trying to earn a full-time living from YouTube, it would be tremendously scary. And so this video is made as a kind of beacon, if you like, for other people who are encountering this situation to maybe discuss how you're feeling. Obviously, it's not a nice place to be. I guess in my mind, there's a very, very, very like 0.1% chance that someone with powers at YouTube who has a bit of authority will see this and maybe discuss it. Maybe there are already plans in the work to try and improve things like this at YouTube. I know that they've started recruiting more and more support workers to try and help them. I mean, in this particular scenario, I don't even blame Eric for the issues that I've encountered. I've flamed him a little bit. However, it's quite clear that the dude is like stoked under, right? The YouTube team they're probably flooded with this kind of shit every single day, and for them to specifically help each individual case is probably not possible. However, YouTube is an enormous platform, and I hope that they are doing things to try and invest a bit more in maybe a larger workforce to be able to combat things like this, maybe take the burden off of the workers who do deal with this on a regular basis, maybe employ more people to help handle this kind of situation, or just be upfront about it, be clear, just have a bit more communication with YouTube as a whole. Are you guys trying to improve things like this? Are you not trying to improve things like this? Is it a priority? What are you guys doing to try and enhance this? Again, YouTube has been fantastic recently in reaching out and explaining what they are doing to try and improve things. They're a lot clearer, and I think it's heading in a positive direction. But again, I just want to make this video to let you guys know that these issues are huge, and I really, really hope that there is some sort of progress made towards this in the next couple of months, hopefully in the next few years. For those people with bigger audiences who are making a lot more money than me, to have that income suddenly cut is pretty terrifying. It's pretty terrifying. I know that when you get to a certain level on YouTube, once you reach a certain subscriber base and you become like a big person on YouTube, then obviously you get given a manager and things like that, or I don't know if you get given a manager per se, but you get given a contact at YouTube who you can basically message in moments like this and just have someone specifically look after you, someone who you know by name terms and things like that, you know. And that's nice. But for the people who are below that, who are still trying to make it in the YouTube game, we don't have that, and it's quite troubling when things like this happen. So again, I'd like to kind of end this video with a conclusion and basically say, you know, this is not a video to flame YouTube. I'm not trying to congregate an army of people to flame YouTube. That's never what I want. I want this video to be as positive and as open-minded as possible, but this video also needs to highlight that there's some serious issues that still exist. Just letting you guys know that that's happening. This has got to be improved upon. Okay, so thank you to everybody who watched this video. It went on a lot longer than I expected. I'm sorry for ranting for a long time, but I hope you guys found a bit of solace or comfort in this. And if it is someone from YouTube that is watching this, then please maybe look into this and try and improve it. You don't have to reply to me specifically. I don't really want to reply at this point. I'm kind of fed up and exhausted with the whole ordeal, but just think about it. All right. Much love, guys. Take it easy. Look after yourselves. We will be live streaming over on Twitch. I got a sub button, by the way. Did I mention that? So if any of you guys want to pop over and visit me, I will be live streaming at Twitch/Mr. Wolfie. All links in the description. So thanks for watching, guys. Peace out. Look after yourselves, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye-bye.